Yo, 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 how's everyone doing? It's your boy Skilled Fawn. We're back doing another Elden Ring challenge run. Let's waste no time and get straight on into the rules. Starting off, I can only level the intelligence stat. Intelligence is mostly used with magic builds, as this stat allows for spell usage, among other benefits. I can only level the stat at the Lost Grace sites. Other than that, I cannot level anything else. A few things that are okay are talismans, great runes, and mixed flask components. I can use these to get levels as I'm not leveling up my overall character level. Afterwards, I cannot use spirit summons. These are friendly NPCs that will help the player fight enemies and bosses. This will generally make fights easier, though we will not be using them in this run. Next, I must beat the game. Subsequently, I can use glitches and or exploits during this challenge. I have to acquire all 7 great runes. Lastly, I cannot use armor for defense. I'm excited to be sharing this with you guys. I have previously done other challenge runs similar to this with other stats, so check out the videos in the top right / description for more content. If you enjoy my channel, content, or maybe just my voice, consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing to help support me and the channel. Thank you, and on to the video. We're going to start the run by talking with Melina to get Torrent. This will allow me to traverse the map painlessly. I wanted to head over to Caelid, as there are many opportunities here for early runes. A few examples are Commander O'Neill, the various dragon bosses, Knights Cavalry, and many more. I like to come here to grab the Dectus medallion, but also to get some early levels. I decided on Commander O'Neill first, since he is, in my opinion, easier than the others. Eventually, we take him down and get some nice runes. Afterwards, I wanted to upgrade my arsenal of sorceries. Luckily, near the beginning of the game, a merchant can be found after a Pumpkinhead boss battle. Here, I can give scrolls and purchase sorceries from Selen. I head into Stormvale Castle next to take on Margit. This is usually the first boss that the player will fight, but given the parameters of this challenge, I felt going elsewhere first would be more beneficial. Margit can be a bit tricky if you are a range build, since he likes to do his dagger attack and close the gap between the player. After some time, we take him down and head into Godric's fight. At the end of Castle Stormvale, we find Godric the Grafted, the first shard bearer of this run. I equip the Arrow's Reach Talisman because for some reason this works on sorceries, specifically the Rock Sling. This will allow the rocks to travel slightly longer before crashing down. I spam the Rock Sling until we get him into Phase 2. In Phase 2, he likes to do a lot of fire attacks. Fire in Elden Ring can be a bit tricky since it ricochets off of objects, which then can hit the player. Luckily, I didn't get hit by his fire attacks, and we do take him down and keep progressing. Afterwards, I want to get some more runes, so I decided to do the Flying Dragon Grail Cheese. I mentioned near the beginning, but to reiterate, there are many early game opportunities for runes in Caelid, and I highly recommend it for those brave enough to try it out. This cheese has a lot of RNG, which can be a bit rough, but if the player is able to get Grail on top of the tree, then they will get stuck and die due to gravity. After taking down Grail, we get some nice levels and head onwards. Next, I wanted to get a few things to help during the challenge run. First is a plethora of talismans to choose from, and the second is an actual weapon. Since this is not a sorcery only and rather an intelligence only run, I'm free to use whatever weapon of my choosing. I decided that the Rose's Axe, I think that's how you say it, would be great as it has a decent Ash of War and scales with intelligence. We head into DTS's fight. Nothing to note other than him getting creamed. Subsequently, I wanted to take on General Radahn next. Star Surge Radahn is one of the harder bosses within Elden Ring. His range and damage is not something to laugh about. Using a combination of the axe and sorceries, I deal high damage to him. Since I'm ranged part-time, I have to be sure to watch out for his sorceries, as they deal high damage if caught off guard. Thankfully, we don't have too much of a problem and take him down relatively easily. Onto the next zone. Up next, I decided to head into Mount Gelmir to take on Godskin Noble and Rykard. Godskin Noble, I use Sleep Pots in combination with sorceries to get high damage on him, and with Rykard, I use the weapon in his arena. I would have fought him with sorceries, as I have done this before, but it was mostly the Frost proccing alongside more powerful spells that I was utilizing. Because of this, I decided to go the normal route. This did take a bit of time as I didn't upgrade the weapon. I take them down and head into the capital. After progressing through the capital a bit, I wanted to take down Mohg the Omen. This is an optional boss, but in my more recent challenge runs, I've been going to fight him. This is because I really enjoy his boss fight, alongside the potential to do the Frenzied Flame ending. We take him down and get some nice runes. At the top of the capital and beside the Erd Tree, we find Morgott, the Omen King. For those unfamiliar with the game, you might be saying, didn't you already fight this guy? Or some variation of that. Well, technically you are correct, if that is your question. Morgott is one of the first bosses we faced off against, but he was disguised as Margit. If the player is familiar with Margit's moveset, then Morgott's shouldn't be too much of a problem. Morgott is a very agile boss that is able to close the gap on the player with ease. This mid-game boss is definitely not a joke, but is also not the toughest. With patience and skill, we take him down and progress onwards. Next, I wanted to take down the bosses that I missed or forgot about. These include various bosses that are holding talismans or the main bosses. Renala is another shard bearer, but compared to the others, she is relatively weaker. Besides, like, maybe Godric. The problem that may arise is the spammy spells that she can hurl at the player. Luckily, we are a spammy sorcerer ourselves, so we will just cancel it out with our spam. Using the axe and the staff has been really fun and an effective strategy for taking down bosses. After taking down Renala, I decided to head towards Ranni. I was debating on whether or not I should complete her quest line, as she gives the player some great sorceries, but eventually decided not to. This is because it costs a lot of time going through the steps, and I felt it wouldn't be worth it. Though Ranni's questline is one of my favorite endings, it will have to be for another run. I head into Mohg, Lord of Blood's fight. Mohg the Omen and Lord of Blood versions share the same moveset, but what differs is that Lord of Blood Mohg has a phase 2 with a different moveset. Thankfully, I have a lot of practice and experience with this fight, but he can still be quite challenging. The hardest part for me to this day is avoiding the blood flame that he sprays on the ground. It's a minor thing, but can easily catch a player off guard with bleed procs. I used Renala's Moon at the beginning because I really wanted to get good damage on top of the Frost proc, but unfortunately did not. And so I decided to go the melee route instead of ranged sorcery. After some time and with patience, we take him down. Afterwards, we head into Melania Blade of Miquella's arena. This is arguably the hardest boss in the game. I'm sure for those unfamiliar with the game, you might have heard her name or Radahn's being shared around for their infamy of being insanely difficult. Her combination of quick attacks, while some of them are staggered, can be tough to gauge and predict. I've had a lot of experience with her fight, because in my early Elden Ring days, I would practice for hours flawlessing her for various challenge runs. While I am human and make mistakes, I'd say that I am most comfortable and confident with her fight. In Phase 2, it's a similar story, but with her aggression levels being over 9,000. There are very few times that she gives the player a break, because she's constantly moving around attacking. This is on top of her clone attack, which I'd argue that attack and her waterfowl are the hardest to avoid. After some time, we take her down and progress towards Ferrum Azula. In Ferrum Azula, we find Godskin Duo. With sleep pots, these bosses are both quite simple. I decided to try and sleep them as much as possible, and then do a bunch of charge attacks. This way we will get a ton of great damage, and then deal a riposte. Let's head into the final boss in the Ferrum Azula area. Malekith, the Black Blade, is the next boss on our list. His phase 2 is the scariest part of the fight, as his attacks can deal massive damage, while also slowly taking the player's health down. As long as the player is able to get hit minimally, then this shouldn't be too much of an issue. And I'm trying to mostly fish out certain attacks, particularly his slam down massive Demon Slayer area of effect attack, alongside some others. Eventually we take him down and acquire the Rune of Death. Afterwards we head into the Ashen Capital. One thing I like about this axe is that it uses relatively low stamina when attacking, and it deals a fair amount of damage. Combine this with how quick its attacks are, this will be great for Godfrey's fight, as he's constantly moving around. After some time, we take him down. The final boss is Radagon and Elden Beast. These two can be a pain in most of my runs. Whether it be certain combo moves, my own air, or something else, these bosses give me some trouble. Thankfully and unfortunately, I've spent a lot of time during my RO1+0 challenge really understanding their attacks. I spent countless hours on these two, and it's definitely within muscle memory for the most part now. With Elden Beast though, I still have a lot of trouble with his Elden Stars incantation, as it is almost impossible to not get hit by. I'm hoping with more time, practice, and patience, I'll be able to master dodging that attack. With the final few attacks, we take down Elden Beast, and yeah, this is Elden Ring Intelligence only. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't already. Expect a bunch of Sekiro runs coming soon alongside Elden Ring stuff. Thank you guys for coming and watching the video. I greatly appreciate all the kind words and compliments you guys have been sending me. I hope to continue improving and to always entertain you guys. If you have the chance to do something kind for someone today, whether it be a small or large gesture, try and do it. This is your boy Skilled Fawn, and I'm out.